This video is intended to help you with the Weathering and Erosion Lab, where it asks you in part 2 here to import some data, a CSV file, and then you need to make a scatter plot of the tombstone surface reduction versus age, add a title and labels for your axes and a best fit line, or that's also known as a regression line or trend line. And then you'll insert the plot with appropriate labels onto your lab report. So I'm going to show you how to do these steps so that you can move forward and do this part of it. So the first thing you want to do is download your CSV file. So if you click on this hyperlink here, it brings up another screen. And you'll notice here that we have the inscription date of the tombstone as well as the surface reduction when comparing something that has been inscripted in 1986 freshly versus how much that would have been reduced over the years. So in order to download that, just click on this hyperlink here as well, and that should bring up a box, and you can then store it wherever you like. This is exactly where I want it to go, the Weathering and Erosion Lab, and I have CSV files. It's a whole new file just for these CSVs. So I'm going to save it here, and as that's working, we're going to go over to Google. Now this is just google.com, and if you are signed into Google, then you should have this Google Apps icon over here. If you're not signed in, go ahead and sign in, and that should get you to where you need to go. You can also do a search for Google Sheets if you prefer, but I find this is the easiest way to get there. So Google Sheets, we're going to click on that. And then we're going to make a new spreadsheet here. And once this is open, we are going to download our CSV file. So we go File, Import, and we want to upload a file from our device. And this was this one here. I've downloaded it a couple of times now. Okay, once this screen comes up, we're just going to accept the defaults and import our data. Now, if we were to just highlight these two columns of data and insert a scatter plot, we would get the exact same scatter plot as what you saw in a previous question on the lab. It would look just like this picture here. So we don't want it to look like that. We want it to actually be tombstone surface reduction in millimeters, so that's the same, versus age. So 1986 minus the year of the tombstone inscription. So that gives you a little bit of a hint here. What you want to do is click on B and insert a column to the left. And this one we're going to say age since inscription. And in order to insert a formula, you always use an equal sign, just like you would if you were using Excel. And just like the lab said to do, enter 1986 minus, you select this cell here and hit enter, and that calculates it for you. Now, in order to have this auto-populate to the rest of the column, you can click on this lower right-hand corner and drag down. You can go all the way to the bottom, but I can't do all of that for you, or I'll give you all the answers to the next questions. So since I want to use the age since inscription and the surface reduction, I highlight both of these columns. And again, you'll want to highlight all the way down to the bottom of that data. And then you want to insert a chart. And mine automatically brings up a scatter chart. If, however, yours comes up as something else, like let's say it comes up as a line graph, then all you have to do is click on this down arrow here and scroll down until you see scatter. Once you see that, click there, and that's better. Okay, so age since inscription, you'll notice that's the same title that we gave to this cell B1, and surface reduction in millimeters is this B columns. You can fix that to say something else if you'd like. And you can also fix your title to say something else if you would like. But what I want to show you here is how to insert that trend line or best fit line. So if you click on one of these data points, left click, then it brings you to this series drop down menu. And if you scroll down, there's one that's called trend line. So if you check that box, it automatically inserts that line for you, which is perfect. Now we need something else though. We need that equation. So on label, if you were to just scroll down a little bit more, click on use equation, and it will automatically insert that equation for you. Now, the other thing that you want to do once you have all of this completed is click on the 3 dots on the top right corner of your graph and copy your chart. And then you want to toggle over to your lab report. Then once you get to your lab report, you want to scroll down until you get to the question where you want to insert your plot. So back up to number 3 here, and you can of course just right click paste or use your shortcut Control V if you have a PC. I believe it's Command V if you have a Mac to insert your graph here. And make sure that you go back up and double check that you've done everything properly before you move on to the next question. And then of course you will need to complete this again for some additional information on Wollongong, Australia. So you can use all of these newly acquired skills in order to make another graph and compare and contrast the data from both of those.